The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink TV, its sponsors, or partners.
And after a while, the other phenomena that happens with these sort of things, as you paint this leaf after leaf, I become a leaf. Literally, you become a leaf because you don't...
Hi, I'm Denis Ryan. Now, what a treat we have for you this evening. Nova Scotian artist Tom Forrestall is one of the most accomplished artists of his time. A quiet and unassuming hard worker described in art circles as a realist. Tom and I met at various times as we kicked around the arts and performance scene over the years. But it wasn't until his recent retrospective show at the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia that I realised what a cat he is. I was so impressed I returned with camera in tow and we had the grand tour with the artist himself, Tom Forrestall.
Okay, sure. Yeah. All right, we'll just wander around. And because a lot of them have stories to tell.
They're phenomenal. I'm so excited about this.
You'll notice some of them, of course, are not all rectangles. Rectangle is such a friggin' convention, and imagine Picasso painting 90 years in rectangles. So I vary the shape a good deal sometimes. This one here, this is my backyard over in Dartmouth, actually. And it's called the Shrine to St. Francis, and the statue of St. Francis in here. Natalie was, we were in, where were we in Assisi. And Natalie found this statue over there. It was, oh God, it must have been 3 feet high. And she insisted on buying it and dragging it all the way back. We dragged it all the way over down to Rome and onto the airport. And she was lugging this bloody big thing, and I was carrying it, and she was carrying it. And they put it on the airplane, tied in the seat, dragged it all the way back, and she set it up in the backyard.
Wow. So she was a lover of St. Francis.
Oh yeah, she passed away, of course, sadly, 2.5 years ago now. She was great, an Acadian, and marvelous. Taught all the kids to be bilingual, French and English, and the airing rug, it's sometimes called too, or airing quilt, I should say.
That's very Acadian. When did you do that one?
That was on 1990, 18 years ago. And mind you, realistic as they all are as you go through, they do not, thank God, look like photographs.
I'm often thinking, actually it was a question I was going to ask you. Have you ever, before you start a painting, am I going to fail in this? Does that ever bother you?
No, it doesn't, because you're guided by a vision. I have a vision in my mind's eye, and the vision is crystal clear. And the whole damn trouble with the vision, it's too perfect.
Do you sketch it around here? Just keep it here?
No. I have a lot of sketches and studies and so on. And this thing builds in my mind's eye, and it's really going to be good. But by the time I get the damn thing finished, human frailty being what it is, fails the vision. But you don't fail yourself because you've done your best. But the vision somehow or other convinces you can do it. You have this profound belief, oh, this is going to be good, the best thing I ever bloody well did. And it doesn't turn out that way time and again. And often, of course, I never really finish a painting. I just go slower and slower at it. and after a while...
Patience.
Well, I paint as I do, not so much for the detail. It's not the detail in the thing, but to stay with it longer. Because the more you sink into a painting, and the more you sink into anything in life, the more it opens up to you. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, writing a novel, or you're doing anything, baking a cake, or whatever the heck you're doing. The more you sink into it, the more challenges you draw out of it, and the more interesting it gets. Yeah. Everything is that way in life, I find. The longer you're married, the more whatever it is, you want to stay with it longer and longer. I think, of course, it's human nature not to resist change. And so the same with me with the painting. I want to stay with it. Consequently, the detail is a byproduct of staying with the thing longer.
Tom, what fascinates me is the patience you must have had. I mean, the detail of your stuff, right?
Now, this one here, of course, is a typical one of the because of the shape is so extreme. It's of course a perspective of the side of a house. That's all it is, and the only thing that breaks it up really is the shadow of the bird on it. Yeah. And of course, these long slats of the lattice work and so on. But they're all done in egg tempera. The earlier ones are in oil, but egg tempera is literally you take the yolk of the egg. You can never use the white. The white you got to throw in the garbage because it won't hold anything. And the egg, the yellow part, the yolk, doesn't affect the color. The yellow you see in there is not egg yolk. It's colors in it, and the egg yolk has no effect. If you mix it in egg yolk in with blue, you don't get green or anything like that. And it's one of the oldest of all the mediums. It goes back to who knows where the Egyptians are. So one thing that is typical of egg tempera. And if you move in closely, you can see every brush stroke on it. I mean, if you move in closely to the painting here, this one here of Natalie laying on the beach, and she's almost floating on the beach. But as you zoom in, you can almost see every brush stroke. Wow. And that's typical of egg tempera. It's something that can't be avoided. Oil paint, which stays wet longer, you can just have a smooth coat of it if you want to. Whereas egg tempera, which dries very, very quickly, just sets up too quickly to have it smooth. Now, one thing, of course, a limitation of egg tempera has got to be done on a rigid board. You can't do it on canvas. Okay. You can't get thick gobs of paint built up. As you see, they always have that thin, sort of thinly painted quality about them.
We're having a wonderful time. Join us after the break as we learn what drives this gentleman to paint.
The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink TV, its sponsors, or partners.
Thick gobs of paint built up. As you see, they always have that thin, sort of thinly painted quality about them.
I mean, I just love it. Because I tell you why. You're right. It could be, it's not a photograph, but it does trigger that thought in your mind at times, right?
Well, it's a kind of realism, yeah. And a lot of people say, oh, it's as real as a photograph. As a matter of fact, it's not real like a photograph. A photograph has its own kind of realism, but it's in some ways a false realism. A painting is a true realism because it's the inner realism, me doing the best I can. But now we're getting into the early ones, and most of these in here are done in oil paint, except for a few watercolors over there. And now this one over here is quite an important painting in my painting. 1961. I first studied egg tempera at Mount Allison when Alec Colville taught it to us there, and there was something about it twigged, but I got away from it because I got into editorial cartooning, magazine illustrating, and teaching art to make a living. But
where were you living then?
I was living in Fredericton. Because I went up to Fredericton to work for Lord Beaverbrook, and therein lies the story in itself.
That's a great story.
Yeah, that's a good story, yes. Well, we'll get into that. I worked for Lord Beaverbrook for only about 7 or 8 months, something like that, through the winter from the fall of 59 into 1960. But enough to realize perhaps working in the art gallery was not for me. I'm a painter, really. But I was into editorial cartooning and so on, but I had a little more time. And this painting, for some reason or other, turned a corner. It was influenced by Lorne Harris, Sr., and the sharpness of it and so on. I think it was the sharpness and clarity of the thing that fascinated me so much. And suddenly, it wasn't an effective paint that I was looking at. It was the realistic quality, not the photographic quality, but the thing that I saw and how I saw it and how I painted it. Some of them further down here, you'll see they're a little more loosely painted. I mean, this is 62, so they wavered back and forth.
If I didn't know that, Tom, and I saw those paintings, I didn't know who did them, and somebody said, have a guess, who do you think did that? I would have never thought of Tom Forrestall.
Here's one from 62, which is a little later, but so I wavered back and forth because I was doing a lot of different things. But here you have really just an effect of paint. The paint's gobbed on, and it's not so much the thing itself, whether it's a teapot or cups or what the heck it is, the china shop.
You graduated from Mount A then?
Yeah, I graduated in 1958. And and then we got married. Natalie and I got married, and I had one of the first Canada Council grants they ever put out in late 57, 58.
Well, good on Canada Council. They made a good investment.
Oh God. Well, yeah, back in there, they were all rectangles and so on. And the rectangle is a very conventional shape. As I said before, why Picasso would paint 90 years in rectangles, I don't know. But and the rectangle is such a convention. I mean, it's a nice shape. But what I was interested in is the dynamics of a shape, how the shape affects things. And when you first walk into a gallery, the first thing you see, if you look way back there, that painting way back there, you see a circle. Then you say, well, what the devil's inside the circle? Yeah. And here you see a rectangle and so on. And so you vary it, and suddenly you make a shape that looks like this. Yeah. It's certainly not a rectangle. And rectangles, of course, are affected by doors and windows, and that terrible burden we have on us of horizontals and verticals, that a horizontal and a vertical are correct, and they're not necessarily, and as far as framing goes, or as far as painting goes, they're not creative. They're just a way to chop it off on all four sides. Now, to me, what I try to do is make the shape a piece of the art. So there's not a divorced thing from the art. Of course, I use lots of rectangles still, but still in all, so it becomes a part of the art. Now, when I get a divided panel like this, there's two bites to it. You're looking down at the bottom of the tree, and then you're looking at the middle of the tree. In this case, you don't see the top of the tree. I was more interested in the middle of the tree. As a matter of fact, I like this middle thing of the tree very much. And then you see the bottom with the snow beyond it and so on and so forth. So there's two bites to it. I guess you could call it two bites. And you see this again and again, a bite here and a bite above. Now this one here is one of the biggest egg tempers I ever did. And the problem is on a panel, a wooden panel, a board panel, it gets very, very heavy. And that thing weighs a ton, to tell you the truth. But it belongs to my good friends Denise and Stephen Leahy, and you know, the Pugwash Peace Exchange. They run that up there, and Stephen's kind of the chairman of it. And but they took a liking to this, and every damn oak leaf is painted on that tree. And I tell you, when you're painting like that, you're going like that, and you paint all day long, and you only cover it up a little space with that. Now, that painting took me about 4 or 5 months to do. Or
Every
6
day,
months.
just keep asking.
Well, no, this is the thing. I would leave it. I get sick and tired after a week or 10 days. I couldn't paint any more leaves. It's just enough is enough. So I would go on, because I generally work on 4 or 5 paintings at a time, just to avoid this. Oh, God.
It's like singing the same song all over again.
And when you paint in egg temper, well, of course, when I do them, the whole underpainting is done in India ink. All of them are done in India ink. And egg temper is kind of a semi-transparent medium. And so, consequently, as you paint it, the India ink is kind of the bones of the skeleton of the thing that the whole thing hangs on. So it's being semi-transparent. The paint, you see the India ink kind of shining through it. Matte finish of the darker ones.
The detail of this, just I don't know how you could do. I just don't know.
Well, you're just there again, sinking into it longer and longer and deeper and deeper. And after a while, the other phenomena that happens with these sort of things, as you paint this leaf after leaf, I become a leaf. Literally, you become a leaf because you don't know where you are. The only thing you're aware of is the end of the brush, the tip of the brush, and it bends a little bit as it makes that little mark of a leaf. And you're concentrating, you don't know where the rest of your body is. I think your brain is somehow working down through that and to the tip of that, and you do that, and after a while, you realize, oh my God, I'm a leaf. I'm a branch, and I'm a trunk of the tree. And you're not going, you're not slapping it on like that. You're moving quite slowly, very slowly.
Every part of this frame, every part.
This is finished, yeah.
So you had to put every part of the whole.
Yeah, the thing was painted. Yeah, one thing I do in egg temper is the separating of drawing and painting. The drawing in the India ink is done. The whole thing is run in black and white. And then suddenly you say, no more drawing. Now it's time to paint. And you set aside the drawing out of your head, and you move into the color and the painting. And I think it's that combination of separating the drawing and the painting and starting to paint first with larger brushes and then smaller and smaller, that the medium has that sense that it's meeting you halfway. It's coming to you. And kind of, whereas others, or for me, there's always a struggle. There's no bloody easy one. I've never done an easy one yet, ultimately because of the vision. The vision's too good, and that's where the struggle comes in. And the struggle is in every painting. And ultimately it failed. And sometimes when the thing, as I say, I never go finish it, but toward the end, when the divorce comes, it's nasty, the divorce. When we part company, and you say, the hell with you, you little bugger. You'll never do what I'm told. And another interesting thing about all of these paintings, somewhere along the way, up to about halfway, I'm in charge. I'm the boss. I tell it what to do, what's going to be where, and this limb's going to be here, and that leaf's going to be there. Then it suddenly changes on me, and the thing turns on me with a nasty way and say, You know, you bloody fool, you need more green over there. Can't you see it's got to be yellow up there? Fix that over there, for heaven's sake. And on it goes. And that's an interesting thing. Now, what's happening, and each painting, and I don't know whether it happens in music, but it does take on a life of its own.
You're just referring to the music there, you know, and it does take on a life of its own, or a song or a tune or whatever. But at least when you're on stage, whether it's in a pub or in a concert hall, you have that immediate feedback.
Yes, true.
Whereas for you, you're locked away doing this magnificent tree here for months on end with all that detail. And there's nobody telling you it's good or bad or, you know, you've got to keep plowing along.
No, that's true. Well, of course, the only thing you do have is that vision and that hope, and that you can attain or get close to it, or make that, you always make a grasp beyond your reach. And I suppose in music, too, you kind of reach for something beyond yourself. And but it's true, you are by yourself. It's a very lonely business. Now, but still in all, when you go on stage, you have an enormous confidence. You've done all the work before. And you might say, that was a pretty lonely bit. You might be with some of the other fellows in the band and so on.
But it's still lonely, mind you, Tom, when you're up there but you do get immediate feedback.
Sure, that's
You
right.
get that.
But because you did your homework, you can march out there with confidence. And if you say yes, if there's some great learned person or some other musician out there better than I, and of course there were always other artists who can do it better. But the chances are for the stock and trade, the man in the street, he loves it. He's reveling in it and having a wonderful time. And he's the one that eggs you on. He's the one that gives you the.
And you're giving that person the satisfaction of something that they can't do themselves.
Well, that's right. I mean, most people come in here and say, now there are lots, probably artists, few artists come in and can do a better job of it, but they wouldn't do it as good as the way I personally do my own thing. They do it their own way. And as far as keeping from going nuts go, you are nuts to be in the wreck anyway. And nuts is part of it, you know that yourself. I mean, if you weren't nuts, I'd go and job in a grocery store or something. But no, you have to be slightly nuts, and you have to be a bit of a loner of some sort. You have to be.
That can be quite beautiful in its own way.
Oh, well, it is. I mean, God, you go up there, and you do see the thing progressing. Of course, you do get frustrated. The one way I avoid that is working on 4 or 5 different paintings. When I get tired of something, or I see the damn thing is turning on me, it's not so much that I failed, it's just I've been at it too long. I've been at it a week or 10 days, time to leave it alone. Turn it to the wall, don't even look at it for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and then go on with something else.
And I thought painting would be an idyllic life, control over one's time and destiny. Our conversation with Tom Forrestall continues after the break.
The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink TV, its sponsors, or partners.
Leave it alone, turn it to the wall, don't even look at it for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and then go on with something else.
What have we got here, Tom?
Now this one here, of course, I did, every now and then I seize upon something that's a bit of a series. And the arrow, I don't know whether it's the direction of the thing, the fact that it speeds through the air and is suddenly held still by painting it or whatever. I'm not quite sure. And so here's the arrow going through the air, going somewhere, I don't know where. The wood pile, well, that's part of another series. I've done a series of wood piles. You see them all over the place. And there's a few watercolors here, but we can...
Are these earlier ones, Tom, too? Or they are
84, 88, 85. And so, and these are all painted on the spot. That's down at the air show at Eastern, down at Shearwater. And I just sat there amid all the old planes and had people standing around watching me. There was a decompression tank at the Dominion Diving. People say, well, what the hell do you want to paint that for? But to me, it was a beautiful thing, an interesting thing, and a bit of a mysterious thing, because I'm not a diver. You ever do any diving?
No, I didn't, and it's a mystery to me, too, and I don't have the courage to do it.
And that, of course, that's over in the old Eisners, and that's Bert.
Oh, the Mercedes.
Yeah, there's Bert Page. I call it Bert's Corner. Remember, you know Bert Page.
God, I know Bert,
yeah, there's Bert over there in the corner working on my old car. And
isn't that's great.
He's probably working on the brakes. And,
Look at
there's an old truck.
Has Bert ever seen this?
Oh, yeah. He saw that when I did it. Yeah.
That's great. Is this a Tom?
Yeah, there's a Forrestall. Yeah, there we are. That's apple blossom. They call it Mayflowers, but it's actually apple blossom. They made a mistake. Actually, if you zero in on the spoons, you can see me, a portrait of me in this reflected in the spoon painting the picture. God. And there's my window in my studio. Now, spoons are another. I did a series, and there's a few in here with spoons. Here's another spoon over here, and I got hung up on spoons. And eyes was another thing.
Spoons.
Oh yeah, painter of spoons. And the apple blossoms. Well, of course, I grew up in the Annapolis Valley part of the time, so apple blossoms were everywhere. So. And here's another self-portrait here with blowing leaves and everything flying around me.
You did become a leaf.
Oh yeah, you do. Oh, you do. You become the thing you're painting. Yeah. It's a weird feeling, and of course here again, there's two bites to it. You look this way and you look that way, and of course here, every now and then I'll paint something, but it's not so much the still life; it's the eye that's I'm so interested in. Here's the eye here again, and I did a series with eyes in it, and I've done drawings and paintings of eyes over the years, and along with spoons and.
Look at this one here. Look at this one.
Now this one here, of course, it's a little different in so much as it's oversized. It's way larger than life size. If I painted the eye the actual size, well, we'd have a little tiny painting on the wall that size. But I wanted to.
And you're threading a needle.
Yeah, it's called the eye of the needle. You know, that thing whether you can pass through the eye of the needle and all that stuff. Of course, the pet crow. The kids somewhere along got a hold of a baby crow somewhere. Somebody gave it to them, and they kept it for 5 or 6 months. And late in the fall, or the winter was coming on, the crow kept getting up in the trees and wouldn't come back down anymore. And it finally flew off with the other crows, and all we had left was one of its feathers. So we had it up in the tree there. So it was a little memento. There again, the hand is oversized, over life size. Now, this is my house over in Dartmouth. You've been over to my place, haven't you?
No,
you've never been over there? My God. It's right up on the hill there.
I know where it's at.
Yeah, it's right up on the top of the hill there. And up in the Widow's Walk, you get a marvelous view all over the harbor and everything. And, of course, this is my hand. And that's during the big snowstorm, White Wan. And now people say, what's it mean? What's the time mean, the hand? Well, I leave it up to the individual. Rather than you say, what's it all mean, Tom? What does it mean to you? Rather than say, what are you talking about? You know, even in a song.
Yeah, that's right. That's something you got to leave. You're right.
That's right, because you want to. Now when you see it, what's it mean to you? Because I want to draw you into it. It was great fun doing it because you realize snowflakes, the ones up close are bigger, the ones halfway back a little smaller, and they get tinier and tinier as they go back into the picture.
Your fence is all covered up here.
Oh yeah, eventually got all covered up, and the whole street was plugged up for 3 or 4 days.
Oh, this is a classic one here. I love this one.
Yeah. Now this one here, of course, is a very, very different actually from anything else in the whole show. But I had some drawings. There's an old house near my sister's house in Clementsport. It's one of the oldest houses in Nova Scotia, actually. It looks lived in. It looks like it's a lot of human beings had a good time in here, and probably some sad times too. It was a cross section. I've got an old house up the road, probably not as old as that one. That's probably built in the 1770s or something like that. My house built in 1815. And it has that same quality, a bit worn out and run down.
See, this was done in 1967.
Yeah, 67.
It's over 40 years ago.
Yeah, sure it is. Yeah, it's an old painting. And it's quite different from the newer ones. A place I knew, my sister lives in the house now. My aunt and uncle lived right in the next door house to it. So I knew it well, the house. And it was fascinating. It was such an old house. And that's over in the Marysville cotton mill, done in 1972, just before I moved down to Dartmouth in 1972. And here again, there were 3 bites. You looked at the top of the chimney, in the middle of the chimney with the cloud behind it, and then the bottom part of it. And I don't know, I introduced these dandelion things blowing through there for some strange. And I painted every damn brick on that thing. Every damn brick is on there. I think you can count them. Now, something you don't see, and on the backs of all these paintings, they're chock full of writing. They're jammed to the rafters with stuff I've written. In the process of doing the painting, I write on the back. And after a while, the back actually becomes part of the front. in an odd sort of way, but you don't see it. It's too bad it's not on a hinge. You could open it up and have a look at it, but it doesn't. Of course, now always there's something that's introduced, sometimes just a small thing. I saw the guy painting the steeple, but the bats weren't out flying around, but I just added them because he would have scared the bats out for the day while he banged around up there with a ladder and paintbrush and scraping and so on and so forth. So they're out flying around. This one here, the same way. This is actually the oldest Baptist church in Canada in Upper Clements. And I had got the drawings all done, and I saw a swarm of bees on the ground or on the bushes nearby. And I thought, God, I'm going to put them in the air nearby, near the church and so on. So that swarm of bees are flying along, hovering around the queen, I presume.
My God.
Well, listen, we've got to go in this room here and see if some more, and actually some interesting stuff in here, because there's some of the sketchbooks. And some of the 300, and some of the editorial cartoons I used to do.
Oh, look at this stuff.
Now this, you can see the writing, and the books are chalk. It's too bad we can't turn the pages on them, because you'd see page after page, notes and writing and good, bad, and indifferent, and drawing of Natalie, 1994, self-portrait.
Now, why would you be making these notes, Tom? Would you? Is this to help you in the painting afterwards, or is it something?
Well, it helps me, and also it just helps me clarify my own thinking on painting in general, or painting some particular thing of it. So I apply. It's not so much that it's great writing, and of course the spelling is atrocious, and it's almost unreadable. But it clarifies those things on a different level. And I suppose, if I had any of your talents, I could do it in music, and it would clarify things again. But I don't have that.
I'm looking at some of your notes here. Painting holds its own. Anyways, it's on the scene. It's the ultimate in the expression of the two, whereas drawing always gets
Always gets a short shift.
Short shifted, yeah, and less conceit. What's that word there?
Less considered.
Considered, yeah.
Drawing. The basic idea is that everybody focuses on the painting, and a drawing doesn't mean much to them.
Drawing and painting are not separate.
Yeah. No, they're not. No. Yeah. And the drawing is the backbone of all my art, and I draw 3 or 4 hours a day. And I try to put in, time and game. Now, sometimes the drawings will never, here's some pointing fingers or something, but it may not ever, materialize into everything. What's that, 1987?
These are all the different watercolors here, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, look, there's a sketch of the, well, not 4, but similar to the one of the Shrine of St. Francis, the round one out there. Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, this one here.
This one here. I wanted to ask you about it.
Oh, yeah, well, there we are. The shape is quite extreme. The neighborhood.
68.
Yeah, 68. Yeah, and I did. There's another version of that, in not the same subject. Subject's quite different actually. There's a fellow standing there with a knapsack on and so on, and his dog. But Bobby Orr owns it. Bobby Orr nicknamed it the dog bone, which is quite appropriate. But there again, it's these 2 bites where you're looking at one part and you move your eye over across an empty area to another part. Some old bag or some darn old thing, a sack or something laying in it.
60 my geez.
Yeah, 60 Well, that's 40 years ago. And there again, so this minute little detail, but there again, only to stay with it.
Where was that?
That neighborhood's down near Middleton, in the valley. And now some of them, I wouldn't say house for house. I might have made a drawing of a house here, and that house might have been somewhere else, and I fitted it in. This one somewhere else. So I don't. It's no photographic of an actual place.
Coming up, a connection with the Canadian Navy and Forrestall's 3-story home in the heart of historic Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink TV, its sponsors, or partners.
Here we are at CFB Halifax, Stadacona. This Forrestall mural is overwhelming, and it's a collaboration with his son, Curfy. Oh my God, oh Jesus, yeah. Oh my God. You go on over there near that painting, go on.
Yeah, 1942, there was a convoy leaving Sydney, Nova Scotia for England, and it was escorted by HMCS Assiniboine and some British destroyers. About south of Greenland, they ran across a whole pack of German submarines that started picking them off, their convoy. knocking off the stragglers and that sort of thing. And the battle went on for hours. But anyway, the long and short of it, the Assiniboine finally sunk the submarine by ramming it. Now, but before they rammed it, the submarine had started a fire on the Assiniboine here. There was some drums of gasoline here for this little motor launch they had on it. And the boys are trying to get the fire out there. And the guns are blazing, the small arms are flying, the water is splashing up and so on. This black flag that they run up here indicates that they're in action with a submarine. And you can see how the light from the gun flashes up and hits the crow's nest there up on
beautiful.
On the edge. Now this is done in acrylic, whereas ordinarily I work in egg tempera, but you see this is on canvas. And it had to be on canvas because of the enormous
size
weight.
of it, right? Yeah.
Oh, it's size. And once you had the drawing in, you'll see Curfew worked on this with me. We got along pretty good. We didn't get into too many fights. Actually, as a matter of fact, Curfew, whoever had the best idea, we went with. And Curfew did a lot of the work on the sky up there, too. He actually almost painted the whole sky on his own. And then as we get down into the boat, I did the bigger areas, and then Curfew started to get into a lot of the details. And then I got hung up in this bloody big area here of the water.
But when I walked in that door and looked at this, I didn't know what to expect. And it just hit me. Just a fire.
Yeah, get over here and you see the signature there with Curfew's.
Yeah.
Curfew signed it too over here in the corner. And there's the February and March 2005.
The man is at home. The man is home. Let me in.
Oh my God, what are you doing?
Tommy, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Yeah.
You're looking all right.
Yeah, for an old fella.
Oh my God.
This house looks familiar over there.
That
Your
is
neighbor.
Dr. Creighton's old home.
Oh my God.
Ellen Creighton was one of the wonders of this country, an amazing person. Halloween night, she'd dress all up and come over here and knock on windows and run away and hide.
My God.
Life out of us all.
I interviewed her in 1973. What a lovely lady. Come on in, we'll see what's going on here. This is where it all happened.
Work on post.
Oh my God, Tom.
Generally speaking, we didn't have to do anything to it. I liked just the way it was. We did, we modernized the kitchen a bit and freaked around some of the things.
Oh my God, Tom.
There's 4 bathrooms in the old place. Oh gosh.
How old were you there, Tom?
Oh God, I don't know now. I must have been probably 35, 36.
Oh my God.
40 or something like that. France is there. Well, he's grown up now. He's a computer animator. Natalie, of course, she's passed away. William lives in Fredericton, in Ireland. Rennie, she's over in Halifax. Lives over in Boulderwood there.
Yeah.
Teaches. And Rennie, Monica, she's an editor of some of the magazines, one of the editors of magazines down in New York, Food and Wine magazine, Bridal Fashion, different things like that. She did a lot of painting. She studied in New York. Curfew, he works on sets.
Oh yeah, Curfew.
Movie sets and theater sets and stuff. Jack, he spent 15 years in the Orient, and he's running around here somewhere now because he went back to St. Mary's, finished his course.
Oh my
God. He spent the last 3 or 4 years driving an 18-wheeler truck from Toronto to California, picking up tomatoes and cauliflowers and stuff like that. There's Jack, the one that was in Japan for a long time and the Far East, and drove the big truck, and just a kid there. Did a sketch. This is one of Monica's paintings from New York. These are, of course, Rennie's here. Another one of Monica's.
Very interesting reading this. This is great stuff.
Here's some of my notebooks, some of the 300 of them I got. Stacks of them.
Oh my God, Tom, I'm glad you kept on.
Here's the old medals. What the hell's going on? It won't open up. I guess that's the way it is. the Royal Architectural Institute's medal, Order of Nova Scotia, Queen's Golden Jubilee medal, Admiral citation there, Canada medal, Silver Jubilee medal, Order of Canada. And whether a painting's that size or 6 feet long, I don't know. I can never figure out what's why it is. Wow. Now here, I'll tell you, here, Dennis, here we can do a little game here. I got all kinds of sayings I wrote over the years. Put this thing out of the way here. Now you open this up and it's full of millions of the damn things. Now you reach down in there, go down a ways, pull anything out, and we'll read what the hell it says. It might be gibberish, might be bullshit, but it'll. Don't lose them. They're all wrinkled because every one of them have a wrinkle in them because I scrunch them up when I'm done. Now, what's that say?
For vision the utmost. Tom Forrestall. So many look.
Oh yeah, I write.
Just write them down, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that one there doesn't make much sense. I told you, throw it in and find another one.
Okay. Oh, Tom.
It's chock full of them. There's hundreds and thousands of them.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just getting all excited. I don't want to be.
What the hell?
Painting has never given me anything for nothing.
Yeah.
Other than enslaving me. Yet on the other hand, it has never let me down. Tom Forrestall, 27th of the 7th, 2003. That's very interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, my God, it enslaves you, but it doesn't let you down.
It's a slave driver.
Now, what have we got this time?
What have we got this time? Oh, let's go.
Don't hunt and find. It's all too easy. So create and work like a dog. Tom Forrestall. What's to say there, Tom? Style, mannerisms and formula. What? I loathe style.
I loathe
style.
Mannerism and formalism. Formula. Yeah, I don't paint with a formula. I don't have a set of rules.
Yeah. Just one more little thing down. We'll just see what's in here. There's some very interesting.
Yeah, because sometimes musicians sink into a formula.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But that's not.
So you art is a grasp for the divine. Ooh.
Yes.
The vision beholds what the hand cannot. Tom Forrestall.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying before. You can have it in your mind's eye, but you can't hold it in your hand.
Tom, you are a spiritual person.
Well, I think, oh, God, I don't know, hope so. In my own private way, I don't. Yeah, that's Natalie on our wedding day. She was a darling, and a Katie in the boot. And this was one of the last drawings I made of her before she passed away in the hospital. Yeah. God, anyway. Yeah, here's a picture of her. We were on the train, and we were in the train somewhere. I think we were on the Orient Express, somewhere between, I don't know, Budapest and somewhere. And we were on the train going, I think, through Hungary or some damn place. I just forget where. And it was probably written on the back.
That would have been weird at that time, too, to be able to have the mobility to go around.
What year was it? There's a picture of me on the same train. Lord God. Oh, good. Yeah.
Oh my God, Tom, isn't that funny?
Yeah. Well, we had shows. We had shows in Eastern Europe. We had in Bulgaria and Romania and Yugoslavia and
back then.
Poland and Hungary and all through there. And we traveled around. Always had them in the National Gallery. And when they say you get here, and we'll put you up for a couple of weeks. And they did. They treated us like royalty. They gave us a car and a driver and an interpreter, and they looked after us. You know what they did behind the Iron Curtain? They didn't want you out of sight. That was it. And they showed you all the great spots, and they took you to the opera every night, and they took you to this, that, and all the museums and galleries, and took you out for dinner at the fancy restaurants.
Tom, this one of Natalie here?
Yeah.
Where was that taken?
Well, that was taken, that was right here on the veranda.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. I did a little artist license there. I pushed a couple of houses off to one side so she could see the harbor.
Yeah.
This is one of William's paintings here. And William paints in egg tempera, too. And there again, you see that same characteristic. I mean, he has a different way of doing it, but you can see every brush stroke.
Oh, my God.
So, and they all have their own vision. Rennie, sees things the way I don't see them at all. William sees things in a much more harder, much more severe sort of way. And Frank does his, and Curfew does it. There's a couple of Curfew's paintings right there on the floor.
You are sort of, which is great.
Well,
You have a certain amount of discipline and organisation in your own way.
This is quite reasonably neat and tidy here. But I want to show you the biggest mess of all time.
So we're going for a mess.
I'm going to apologize for the mess, but we'll go up anyway.
When we come back, the artist's inner sanctum, Tom Forrestall's studio. You have to see this to believe it.
The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink TV, its sponsors, or partners.
We're back with Canadian artist Tom Forrestall in this rambling Victorian home, where he and Natalie and their children lived. The top floor being his studio, would you believe it, warehouse.
Anyway,
Come on, Terry, let's go to the gallery now.
Upstairs, yeah. Come on upstairs. Well, we'll go up this way. We'll go up the front way. Why not? Yeah.
This is some staircase, Tom.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oops, what am I doing? Turn the lights off. Should be turned on.
This is a place where I could smell pipe smoke or cigars.
Oh, probably. Yes, everything under the sun. Here's the library here. It's chock full of old art books. It's kind of cluttered up right now because the kids were sleeping in here last weekend. Yeah. Now we'll go up to the studio. Oh my God. What a mess.
Oh.
Here's the chaos of it all.
Wow, out of this chaos. Oh, there's Rolly.
Yeah, there's Rolly, yes. Good God, yes, that's rolling. Was done from one of his last campaigns.
Well, he was a great friend of your brother,
John,
right?
you know John Keating, do you know John?
I know John, yeah.
Keating, I think, he said, I'll give you $1,000 and paint it. I won't buy the painting from you, but do it anyway, we'll hang it up. So I said, okay, I'll do it. Give me $1,000. And I did. I'll keep the painting, so it's still here. It's set here for, God, 25 years. Here's some little paintings here, egg tempers, little paintings, hanging up against the wall there. And there's an old poster of Mike over there in Tory.
Look at him, my God, he's a good looking fella.
Oh yeah, oh God, he was handsome as all get out. Yeah, handsome as all get out. Yeah. Now look at this painting here. It's an interesting one. I'll turn it around. You'll see why it's interesting. I was looking at it the other day. I started that painting and I couldn't finish it. And do you know why? Do you know why I couldn't finish the painting?
Oh my God, my God. Natalie died. Painting never finished. Cut short to Natalie Marsh. Okay, Tom Forrestall. This darling lady has done for me what she will always mean to me. There is no measure. Oh my God.
Yeah, so I said to hell with it.
You'll never finish it.
It'll never be finished.
Not going to finish it.
No, it'll never be finished. It stopped when Natalie died, and that's it.
Wow.
It would have been a nice painting, and the flowers, you know, and everything. But
It's
the flowers
beautiful.
withered away, and I threw them out. And
In actual fact, it's beautiful in its own way.
yeah, it is.
It's finished to me.
It's a beautiful finish, yeah.
See, he's painted women here that aren't, you know, they're purposely got a bit of junk on, right? He's not doing modern, this whole bullshit of skinny little women. I mean, they're happy, healthy, which actually the artists in the 1800s loved, you know? And I love the way he puts all the stuff in the back. Yeah. The sleeper and the watcher, the dozer and sentry. Restful and vigilant, night and day. My God, it's
Well, when you got 30 rooms in the house, you're always losing something.
there's lots to dwell on here and to make up its creative. There's unease here as well. One is torn between the two. Whether do you want to be the sleeper or the watcher? Ha, that's the why one of them got the eyes open and the other got the eyes closed, right?
Here's another little one. I like this
Interesting.
one here. Here's the juggler. Well, of course, it's all made up, and I made some did some drawings and so on, frig with them, and then I don't know, it would take me, there again, I'd have 4 or 5 of them on the go at a time. Yeah.
God, I just love, I love what you do. Tom is very interesting, you know that?
tunic's been hanging here for years. Now, what we should do is go up on the Widow's Walk and really have a look around the ocean. You want to go up there? Sure. Oh, that's great. Let me get up and open it up for you, boys. Now, you game to climb up there, Dennis?
No problem.
You don't mind height, I hope?
Not at all.
My God, it's way up in the air. All right, so I'll get this junk out of the way here. Oh, here's a portrait of William I did years ago in egg tempera. Now, that's a long time ago, because William's, God, 50 years old now. Now, here it goes. Put that off pinched there. Up we go.
Oh, yeah. Tom, be careful.
Now the damn thing ain't gonna go up.
Yeah, just...
Shit. Hell, well. Now I'll kill myself trying to do that.
So you'll have this going on here. Yeah. You'll have one going on here. Well, do you sit or stand when you're painting, Tom?
I sit over there in that corner for the most part. And, I got a pile of them over here. Some are, well, most of these are finished over here, but there's some. Here's one here. My God, this is an interesting one. This one here is, it should have been in the show, to tell you the truth, but this one is very interesting. Let's get out in the light here because I want to show you the back of it. This one doesn't have a heck of a lot of writing on the back, but it has something. Now this painting here, side of beef hanging in a slaughterhouse down the valley. It's a triptych. That painting was selected to represent Canada in an international exhibition in Monte Carlo. Yeah, I forget now what year, on the back.
Well, isn't it funny?
Yeah, now there's not much writing on the back, but it was 1970s, I think, for some damn time. Look at this thing they stuck on the back. They had it over there. They invited us to have Natalie and I to come have a dinner with Princess Caroline or whatever it is, and the whole 9 yards. And we didn't have enough money to get over. So we had to, and all the kids were here. Yeah, we had to beg off. Yep. Anyway, I imagine it was an all the artists were invited to the dinner. But that's right. How many we do? I don't know. I might do I might do 10 or 12 egg temperas, different sizes, you know, and I might do 25 or 30 watercolors, 30 or 40. As I say, I try to work on 5 or 6 at a time. Right now, I don't have too many on the go because it's been, a lot of them I just sent away to this exhibition. Some have gone out to Calgary and some have gone up to Toronto. And there's no, so I would say if I did 10 or 12 a year of the egg temperas, the more finished ones, and 25 or 30 watercolors would be probably, might be more or less nailing it down. I might do a little more, a little less. Oh yeah, come over here and see this mess over here. Is there any light? Yeah, wait a minute now, let's open the curtain here, because sometimes the sun shines in this part early in the morning and drives me nuts.
Very interesting. So Tom, you sit here.
Yeah,
this is your usual area to sit, right?
Yeah, I sit there.
You got all your tools here.
Yeah, all the stuff is there.
You get your egg cup there.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So
and I brush away, and then I work over here sometimes too. But these are mostly watercolors.
Yeah.
Here's an old apron I sometimes wear.
Yeah.
Let me get this thing down, get some more light in here. Sun wants to come in there certain times of day too. But,
yeah. So Tom, listen, when it's all said and done, I presume you must be very pleased with how your stuff has.
Well, I'm certainly honored and delighted that it's been, it has been received the way it's been, and that I was able to lead a reasonable life and bring up my family, and that Natalie and I were together all those years, almost 48 years, and I'm thankful for all that. Yeah. You know, God, well, it could have been better, but it was. It was pretty good, and when all said and done, you do the best you can. Yeah.
You've given an awful lot of people in every continent of this earth a lot of pleasure, and your stuff has been everywhere. I happen to be a great fan of yours, so I'm a bit enthralled to be in your company today, but keep up the good work, and you're giving an awful lot of pleasure to a lot of people, and keep it up, my man.
Oh, thank you, Dennis. It was a wonderful day, and I hope we didn't wear Terry out too much, and I hope my gabbing didn't wear you out, but it was a great pleasure. It really was kind of fun to go over it all and knit it all together, and I think you kind of steered it toward the insights, and I saw the stuff anew in a strange sort of way, and I think really I've reconciled reconciled because the divorce with some of those things of mine have been nasty, and
Yeah.
we departed very not good friends, you know. But now kind of warming up to some of the bastards.
Good.
The little buggers. The little buggers.